Guys, Mr. Bowman here. This video is the first video in a three-part series. We're going to go through each of the three sections in the 9 MATE exam. Let's start off with section 1, which was to do with algebra skills. So for question 1, we are expected to use our substitution skills. Below is a trapezium and the formula. So key thing is there's the formula that we're looking at. For calculating its area. Use the information to answer the following questions and ignore units. We're not going to worry about those too much. So question A, we've been told if the A is 10, B is 15, and H is 5, what's the area of the trapezium? We're basically just going to go in and substitute. So the area will be equal to 1/2, and we're going to take away the A and put in the 10, plus, and then we've got the B, take away the B, put in the 15, and that's going to be multiplied by the height, take out the H, put in the 5. So when you do all those, hopefully you've got 62.5. If you're able to get that with some working, you were given an achieved mark. We're then moving on to B. So B is a merit question. The top and height, so the top would be the A value, and the H would be the height above 2.5. So let's write that down. So if A is equal to 2.5, so we're looking at this part here, and H is also equal to 2.5, and then it's saying the bottom is twice this, so twice of that would be 5. So B equals to 5. Calculate the area's trapezium. So same process, except it was just a bit trickier to pull out all the numbers from this particular question. So the area is going to be equal to 1/2, and we're going to go take away the A, put in 2.5. The B is 5, so we're going to go plus 5, and then the H is 2.5. When you calculate all that, bang that into your calculator, you get 9.375. And if you got that answer, you got a merit. If you did your substitution correct and maybe just made a silly math error on the way, your teacher probably gave you a bit of an achieved mark because yeah, you did show the skills that we're looking for. So that was the substitution section. We're now going to scroll down. For questions 2 to 4, convert the following scenarios into expressions. And then key thing is fully simplify that as well. And that applies to everything you do in algebra. Always fully simplify those. So question 2, let's say an unknown number, and we've been told that unknown number is called n is halved and then 4 is added, so it's going to be n divided by 2, because halved is divided by 2. We're then going to go plus 4. If you did that, you got achieved. You also would have got your marks if you did 1/2 of n plus 4 as well. We were happy with that one. No dramas with that. So we're moving on to question 3. So question 3 was a bit tricky. The wording was really difficult, so we did accept a few answers, but I'll go through the proper answer that was intended, and then I'll mention what it was. So the teacher of a class is planning to have 3 sheets per student, plus 3 extras of each of those sheets. If each page costs 4 cents, form an expression for the total cost. Let S be the number of students. So the total cost, so you don't need to write it out fully like I'm doing. That is going to be equal to 4 cents of 3S, because it's 3 sheets per student, plus 3 extras of each. That would have been plus 3 times 3, which is 9. So that there was the answer that I intended. And you would have got a merit if you got that. If, for example, maybe you got confused about this 3 of each bit, if you wrote a 3 here, we also gave you the mark. Also, if this 4 cents was, in terms of dollars, 0.04, we also gave you the mark as well. But the intended answer was here, and I think that's the correct one when you get into the wording of the question as well. So that's question 3. We're now moving on to our first dreaded excellence question. This one was a bit of a headache, but a few of us managed to get there. A few of us were really, really, really close. A lot of us didn't really know where to start, but let's have a go. So the husband and wife are saving for a car where the total cost is unknown. we know that the husband can contribute 3/8. So I'll start writing this down. So husband, he can contribute 3/8 of the car price, and the wife can contribute 4/9. So wife 4/9. Form an expression for how much extra money the husband and wife need. So let M represent the total cost of the car. So if M is the car, we need to take away the portion that the husband can contribute, which is 3/8 of M. We also need to take away the 4/9 that the wife can contribute. And the leftover amount from that is going to be how much extra money the husband and wife needs. So once we got to this stage, it was really just dealing with all the messy fractions. So 8 and 9 gets us to 72. So I'm trying to convert each of these fractions to have a denominator of 72. So M is the first one. So 72 over 72M. So that's 1M. We're then going to go times 9 over 9. So we're going to go minus 27 over 72M. We're then going to go times 8 over 8. We're going to go minus 32 over 72 times M. Once we've done all that, we've got 72 minus 27 minus 32. That there comes to 13, which means 13 over 72, lots of M, is how much more money the husband and wife needs. You also could have written 13M over 72. So if you got me one of those fully simplified answers, I gave you an excellence. If you formed this kind of unsimplified version, I gave you a merit. And if you showed me some kind of skill that was relevant, I probably gave you an achieve mark as well. But it was hard to say or describe kind of when I was giving out achieve marks as well. So well done to the few of us who got that. Really tricky question in hindsight, but when you step through the maths, it's actually not that bad. But it is very, very tricky when you're just reading the question for the first time. Okay, so we've done question 4. Let's have a look at question 5. Here, it looks like we're just adding some bits of algebra together. So which ones are like terms? So we've got the x's. So we've got 12 of those. We've got the y's plus 7y. Well done if you got that. And your teacher would have given you an achieved mark. We're now multiplying. We always start off with by multiplying the numbers. 5 times 4 is 20. Put it down the a and the b. 20ab, achieved mark if you got that. So we've got 10ab minus 14ab. The letters are the same. Both of them are ab's, so they are like terms. We can go ahead and subtract that. 10 minus 14 is negative 4. So that's going to be negative 4ab. And probably on the trickier side, but there we go. Got given an achieve mark for that. 27a squared divided by 3a. It's a division question, so my suggestion is always make it look like a fraction to avoid those silly math errors. 27 divided by 3 is 9, and the top term is more a's, so there goes the a. Technically, there's nothing down the bottom here, so we just ignore that stuff down the bottom. We're now moving on. Oh, sorry, shouldn't do that. Got an achieve mark if you got that right. Now moving on to what looks to be a harder question, still achieved though, but definitely the harder end of the achieve. Start off with the numbers. 6 divided by 30 is 5. And the bottom team has the bigger number, so they get given the 5. 2 S's on the top, 3 down the bottom. So the bottom team has 1 extra S. 5 S's on the top, 5 T's on the top, 3 T's down the bottom. Top team has more T's, so we're going to give 2 T's up the top there. T squared. So that gets us to A. We're now moving on to 10. Key thing is we are multiplying. So let's start off with the numbers. Negative 3 times negative 10 is positive 30. We've got 2 x's, x times x squared, and we've got a y. So 30x squared y. Again, still a merit question. Oh, sorry, still an achieved question. Getting trickier though as well. So we're now up to 11. We've got 2 fractions being multiplied. So hopefully you remember times top, bottom times bottom. Tops times top for us is 12a. Bottom times bottom, 2ab. There was a bit of simplifying needed here. 12 divided by 2 is 6. The a's cancel each other out. And there's a lonely b sitting down the bottom over there. If you got that, that was the hardest of the achieved questions. Really tricky one there, but well done if you did get that. So question 12, we've got a bit of a BEDMAS issue. We've got multiplying and adding happening at the same time, so we've got to follow BEDMAS. Let's start off with the multiplication. So negative 5a times a is negative 5a squared. Just noting, if you got that bit for me, I did give you an achieved because you did show some multiplication skills. We're then adding the 5a that we never touched before, so that's a 5a here. Negative 5a plus 5a squared is 0. They cancel each other out. So well done if you got that merit mark there. We're now on to question 13. We've got two fractions again, but this time around we're adding. So the adding's a lot more annoying because we've got to use that crisscross smiley face method. So let's start off with bottom times bottom is 20. We then do the cross here. 2x times 4 is 8x. And we do the other cross. 5 times y is 5y. That there was a merit. Well done if you did get that. We're now moving on to some exponent stuff. So we've got a bracket, and the key thing is the exponent is on the outside. So we're looking to multiply instead of add. So we're going to have 2 to the power of 3. Don't forget that 3 applies to each part. And then we've got 2 times 3, and then we've got y cubed. So when we simplify that, that becomes 8x to the power of 6, y to the power of 3. A lot of us did have 5 here when we added the powers together. But that is the rule that applies to multiplication, not brackets. So you wouldn't have been right if you had that. And that was worth a merit question. Not a lot I can do for you. There was no achieves really I gave out there, just a merit. And the last one, the negative powers. So remember, negative powers are never a simple. That there would have been 3 over x squared. So the negative power moves to the bottom, and it becomes positive. Just a reminder, that power doesn't relate to the 3. That's touching the x only. That 3 has its own power of 1. 3 stays on the top, doesn't move down to the bottom. So well done if you got that merit question right there. Okay, so for questions 16 to 19, we were required to expand and fully simplify when appropriate. So let's get ahead, let's expand these. So 4x times x is 4x squared, and then 4 times y plus 4xy. Achieve mark there if you got that. The next question was worth merit. We expand like we did the other one, so we do 3x minus 3y. We then expand again. Negative 2 times negative 2y is negative 4y, and this is the bit that a few of us got trapped up when. Negative 2 times negative x is positive 2x, not negative. So if you did get negative there, you weren't able to get merit. I think you still got an achieved mark, but nothing more than merit. We then group the terms. We've got the x's together, so that becomes 5x, and we got the y's minus 7y. Well done. You got merit if you did that. If you showed me some correct expanding, I gave you achieved as well. So we've now got quadratics. We can tell that by the double brackets. X times x, x squared, x times negative 5 minus 5x, and then 3 times x plus 3x, and then 3 times negative 5, negative 15. When we merge the middle ones together, we've got some x's. That becomes negative 2x minus 15, and that there got you your achieved mark. And the last merit question, a bit trickier. A lot of us thought this was 9x squared minus 4a squared, but definitely wrong. The trick with this here is a double bracket. And I gave you an achieved mark if you identified that there was a double bracket. We then go ahead and expand. 3x times 3x is 9x squared. 3x times negative 2 is negative 6ax. We've got the same thing again, negative 2a times 3x, negative 6ax. And then the last one, negative times negative is positive 4a squared. And that gets simplified to 9x squared minus 12ax plus 4a squared. If you got that full answer, don't worry about your achieved. I gave you straight to a merit question. So we're now on to factorizing. And factorizing, these questions were a bit tricky, particularly the ones near the end, but let's jump into them. So no squareds here, which probably means it's going to be a single bracket. You can see they've got a 3 in common. So there's the 3. What's left over? X plus 4. Well done. If you needed to ever check if you're right or wrong with factorizing, just expand. There's 3x, there's 12. We know we're right. So let's have a look at the next question. What do they have in common? I can see they've got a 5 in common. I can also see they've got an A in common. That means it's 2b plus 3 left over. Well done. Both of those achieved questions. Not really much. If you got those wrong, can't really do anything for you there because you're either right or wrong for those ones. So quadratic x squared, that's the giveaway for that. What numbers multiply to 12, add to 6? So they multiply to 12, add to 6. I'm thinking 6 and 2. So that means it's going to be x plus 2, x plus 6. And you got yourself an achieve mark if you did get into that one as well. We've then got another one, a squared. A lot of us got a bit confused about this one. Minus 25 tells us it's a difference between two squares. Between two squares. So the square root of a squared is a. So if you put in your brackets, these a's on the front, a on the front. Square root of 25 is 5, so minus 5 and plus 5. If you got that, you got an achieved one there. We're now shifting over to a merit question, and it is a quadratic. And we've got a 4 in front. That means we've got to use that grouping method. So we start off with by going 4 times minus 1. Or by positive 1 is 4. We've now got to think what numbers multiply to that 4 but add to this 4. And I'm thinking 2 and 2. So 4x squared, we're going to split the 4x into 2 lots of 2x based on the numbers I've done there. And we went over this in a lot of detail in Learning Objective 20. Plus 1. We then factorize the first pair. So that's going to be 2x and then 2x plus 1. We then factorize this. They've got no factors in common except for 1. So we'll put the 1 up there, 2x plus 1. The first, or the bracket they have in common, I've put up front, and the leftover bits, 2x and x plus 1, form the second bracket. So done that. A lot of us stopped here, unfortunately, but a few of us would have noticed these brackets are actually the same. So we can go ahead and simplify by one more step, 2x plus 1 squared. And that's an example of one of those perfect squares that we looked at throughout our work as well. So that was a perfect square. So well done if you got that. And this question here, a few of us thought it was quadratics because there were some x squareds everywhere. The cubes and everything kind of suggested it was just a single bracket. And we have a look. What do they have in common? 12 and 18. They've got a 6 in common. We've got 1 A in common, 3 B's in common, and a C in common. We then put what's left over. We've got a 2 left over. We've got 1 of the A's left over. All the B's are gone and all the C's are gone. So we'll leave them there. And we're going to put the minus sign. What's left over here? We've got a 3's left over. The A's gone. The B's gone. There's 1 C left over. So we'll put a C over here as well. Both of those last two were merits. If you stopped at this stage here, I only gave you an achieved. And what appears to be the final question, because we can see part 2 solving popping up. The final question is on simplifying this big messy equation. Just noting, in the exam you were told to correct that plus 3 to a minus 3. And the first step here was really just to factorize as much of that first bit as possible. And this is probably where people went wrong. So if we factorize that first numerator, that's 2 and then b plus 1. And then we've got to think what numbers multiply to negative 3 but add to positive 1. And I'm thinking, positive 2, negative 3 and positive 1. So that means it's going to be b plus 1, b plus 3. That's going to be divided by b plus 3, b minus 3. So before I move on to the division, those plus 1s are going to cancel each other out. So that's going to be 2b plus 3. I'm dividing by a fraction, so I'm going to do my switch here. So it's going to become b minus 3 divided by b plus 3. I just spotted a little math error, so that's good. I had a minus 3 here, but I put a plus 3 here, so let's get rid of that plus 3. And that plus 3 is actually a minus 3, isn't it? So minus 3, minus 3. There we go. Okay, we're now going to do top times top, bottom times bottom. So that's going to be 2 times b minus 3, and then b minus 3, b plus 3. The minus ones cancel each other out, leaving us with our final answer, b divided by b plus 3. If you were able to get to that very final answer, you got an excellence. Well done. If you were able to factorize and flip that fraction, I gave you a merit. And if you were able to show some kind of factorizing skill up the top here, I gave you an achieved mark as well. So big first section, definitely the biggest of the rest. It was one extra page. In case you were wondering what the grade boundaries were and what you needed to do for each, get rid of that. So to achieve, you needed to get 8 merit or 8 achieve marks. To get merit on top of that, you needed to get 5 M's, and to get that very elusive E, not many E's given out here, you needed to flip that over and get one of the excellence questions right, and they were very challenging, those ones. So that's the first part of mid-year exam on algebra skills done. We're going to go over the next parts shortly, so keep an eye on the part 2 and part 3 videos for this series. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Let's go.